Namaste, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Louisa. 2020, brothers and sisters of the light, of the truth, of the vision. This video is made for you. I have been on a bit of a dark journey in the last couple of days, as I'm sure so many of us have right now, grappling with the integration of shadow and light that is happening collectively, and of course is happening in each and every human being at the same time. I have done so much of this work myself over the years that it's natural for me to integrate, to see the shadow and allow all of those feelings to be there, and through the power and awareness of my loving consciousness, for that to dissolve. However, it's quite another thing to, at the moment, process the shadow that's on our earth. The shadow of consciousness that's coming up for all of us, that is really challenging our ability to stay centered and balanced. So I want to make this video as a kind of a tribute and a thank you to who I perceive as being the leaders of our new earth, the emerging leaders that have long been there, but unbeknownst to, I guess you could say, the people who are not waken up yet on this planet, who do not understand what's going on. So for us, you know, at the risk of categorizing, and it's dangerous because categories are the one thing that have actually kept us separate as a people and fighting, but I'm just going to speak loosely about communities of people. So you might belong to both or all of these communities that I speak about, or only identify as one, or you might see yourself as a renegade on the outside. That's completely fine. But just broadly speaking, there are two communities that I see as being the leaders of our new world at the moment, and they are the truth community. So in that community we have some names like tinfoil hatters and oh, that was my chicken. Thanks, Opal. We have the tinfoil hatters, conspiracy theorists. I prefer the term truthers, whistleblowers, insiders. I guess I would also put in there more broadly white hats, Earth Alliance, anyone on this planet who has been fighting to expose what's really been going on. So you know who you are, and those people are very focused on the detail. Their research skills are incredible. The army, the digital army of citizen journalists and scientists out there is quite astounding. I mean, nobody knows the numbers, but I love how the truth community is held together not by one leader. It's a network of consciousness, and it's driven from the heart, because people who are part of the truth community are fighting so hard to free our planet, and they're the ones that have gone in the trenches and seen the terrible crimes against humanity that have been going on. My beautiful husband Mark Pierce is a filmmaker and an editor. He has sat through hours and hours of footage, the testimony and tribunal of people who've been harmed by these greater crimes against humanity. Things like child sex trafficking and what's happening with the weaponization of our biosphere. He's able to do this because he holds so much love for humanity, and he's quite a neutrally, emotionally balanced person. So for me, when I watch that stuff, I tend to get really triggered really easily. So I just want to say a shout out and a thank you to all those people who are down there in the trenches dealing with this. It's heartbreaking and disgusting and repugnant. It's the worst of humanity. I had a vision yesterday from Spirit about where we're at energetically, a beautiful metaphor of like pulling up a really manky, dirty old carpet from a house, and like as you peel this carpet back that's been there for so long, you see everything. You see the dead rats and the dirt and the muck and the grime, and it stinks. And that's kind of where we're at the moment, right? So our dedicated truth community have been pulling back this carpet now for years and years, but of course it's all ramped up in the last probably decade especially. So many new people joining the truth community as well. I'm seeing a really interesting merging of the truth community and what I would call the starseed community as both teams come together and share information to become one unified powerhouse. There has historically been a bit of a division between these two communities. I feel as if at times the truth community has been disparaging about the starseed community and vice versa. So I think that these boundaries are dissolving now, and we're able to both see each other's points of view. So the second community that I wanted to talk about was the starseed community, or lightworker community. We call ourselves starseeds because a lot of us have had memories returning of being incarnated or part of soul families that come from other planets. We've had experiences of our quantum lives, you could say past or future or higher self lives, and a lot of invaluable information has come through to our planet from the starseed community, either through their own direct communication with these higher beings or through channeling, so the stepping aside of one's own conscious awareness to allow another being to come through and speak. So some of our greatest books and information have come from these channel beings, such as the Law of One, Course in Miracles, Abraham Hicks's work, Esther Hicks, and Abraham, whom she channels, Cryon. There are many, and the information is really powerful and really consistent. The message that comes through from these different realms and beings, when you start to kind of look at all the variation, you can see the similarities at the same time, and the message is always the same. The message is basically that, like the truth community have claimed, much has been hidden from us. And the key to our liberation is reclaiming our sovereignty, is reclaiming our ability to think freely and decide for ourselves what we want, to give consent. Humanity's consent has been stolen, really, by deception. So many people on the planet, and we've all done it. I mean, most of us had to wake up at some point, and prior to that we were giving consent for all sorts of things. Because we were asleep. We didn't know any better. We trusted our elders, we trusted our systems, we trusted our governments, we trusted our education and our medical systems. And to have that dismantled is, as many of us know, it's a really, really hard thing to go through mentally, psychologically, to realize that the people that you've put faith in have utterly betrayed us, utterly, to the deepest of cores. You know, yesterday, and I'm sure many of us are going through this right now, but I just cried and cried from the depths of my souls for these crimes, for this betrayal. You know, and I've been through this before because I actually went through it with my family of origin, crying for a sense of abandonment and rejection and ostracization. So most of us in the truth communities and starseed communities, we know this pattern so well. We've gone through it ourselves. We've had to stand up in perhaps families that didn't support us and say, no, our truth is valid, even if you deny it. I will walk away, even if that's what it means. So we've learned to be really, really strong. And then we've taken that and we've done it in our communities. We've stood up for the truth. We've said no to things. We've challenged things. Now, I did probably the most scariest thing I've ever done. A couple of days ago, I sent an open letter to the, let's just say, the head of the very, very large and prestigious company that I work for, whistleblowing, putting it all out there. This is what's happening. You know, I would never have done that 2 months ago. I feel like the virus event is giving us big opportunities. As the matrix disintegrates, we're able to send out, infuse the matrix with light. Light is information, light is truth. So we can only do the best we can do. We don't have all the answers. The truth community is, you know, as varied as any human community. There's people that think this and there's people that think that, and there's all sorts of information going around and theories, but I really feel like we're doing a great job. I feel like you know, we're blind. It's that old story of the three blind men trying to describe what an elephant looks like, and one of them has got hold of the leg and is saying, well, it's this thick and it's about that, big. And then someone else has got hold of the ear and they're saying, well, it's floppy and it's very thin, you see. So we're all blinded to some extent because of our human condition in the third dimension. This is what it's about. It's about squeezing our consciousness into this tiny little package called a human body, and then interpreting the world through that, through the mind. So the more expanded we can get, the better we get at truth. And we also what comes online is our intuition and our inner GPS, our guidance. And if we can align with source, with the natural law energies, the quantum intelligent field, then our truth radar will be even more amplified. So considering our restrictions, limitations, and the shackles that have been placed on human consciousness, I applaud the truth community. To write my letter, I had to spend a couple of days deep in research. I honestly felt really sick at the end of it. I've had to now regroup, go back to my practices, which are more the spiritual practices, which leads me to the role of the starseed community. And I speak here to the truth community to just listen as I'm speaking this, because we need to build these bridges so we can all work together. And I know that I've heard sometimes people in truth community deriding, dismissing, and validating the experiences of the starseed community. And the starseed community tend to be very focused on building within them the light and the love crystalline matrix that can exist within the human field and is then amplified into the greater collective. So this might be through meditation, through sending prayer, through sending blessings, through working with white magic, high magic. It can also be a journey of the self-healing, very focused on the self. And I can understand that truth community have got frustrated with that in the past and kind of thought that maybe starseed community was just sitting around meditating all the time, and what good is that doing? But we now know that it's doing amazing good as well, right? Where every single person that can hold love, the highest love and bliss in their energy field, is lifting the frequency of this planet. And so one of our shared discourses or bodies of information that we can both draw on, the truth community and the starseed community, is quantum physics, to understand the power of our consciousness, the power of focused intention, and how that in itself is a warrior act right now. To stay centered, to hold your frequency, to be in the eye of this incredible storm that's happening on the planet right now, to not allow yourself to be pulled into the fear. This is one of the biggest challenges we have right now. This is a war on so many levels, and one of the levels is a war of emotions, a war of frequency. So, as some of you may know, we were doing incredibly well with our ascension frequencies on this planet. The service to self alliances, the cabal, those that hold this power to enact things like a coronavirus, they knew this, so they needed an event that would bring the frequency of the planet down, that would create panic and fear and chaos. So it's super important for starseeds who have been doing all that meditation work, who have cleared out their energy field, who no longer have personal inner shadows that are going to knock their balance off, for them to do this work right now. And yesterday, as I was feeling this intense pain in the collective about the abuses that have happened on our planet, I understood from my spirit guidance that one of my roles as a starseed person on this planet is to actually act as a kind of an emotional filter for these things. So to allow myself to feel the purity of the emotion minus story, right? So the truth community is very focused on story. It's a mental layer of human experience. What's the truth? What's the story? What's the narrative, right? We're following all these very fascinating, I must admit, storylines. But if we can sever those for a moment, drop down into the heart space, feel the purity of the emotion that comes with those storylines, that's where the healing work can happen for the starseed people. And I encourage truth community people to also start these kinds of practices as well. Start consciously working with your emotions. when you feel triggered, when you feel fear, just go into the emotion only, none of the story, just the emotions. So for example, yesterday I was feeling betrayal from people who've lied to us. That feeling, what does that feeling feel like? And then to transmute that. And it's a kind of emotional alchemy that we've mastered. We know what to do. We came here to do this, right? So I feel like Spirit showed it to me like I was literally a filter, that this negative energy, this fear-based energy was coming into my field because I have the power to transmute it. Lots of that negative energy can come into other people's fields and it will just amplify in their field. It will freak them out. They won't know what to do. They'll go spread it around. It's worse than the virus, right? The fear. So, so yeah, I've been working with this negative energy, changing the frequencies. You know, each of us are going to have different ways of doing this. Some of us think geometrically, and it's around the codes, the geometric patterns of what we're working with. Some of us think in colors, right? So I might like imagine that the frequency, the fear frequency, is this kind of black gunk that's sitting in my filter system. And so I breathe in the white light that I can connect to through source, or I can generate from my heart. This thing here is our greatest piece of biotechnology. Our hearts are so powerful. It's the one thing that is going to assure us victory here. It's the thing that the service to self, they don't have. They don't have that capacity to love. And love trumps fear every day, any day, right? It's so much more powerful. So for a little bit of science on this, we can look at Dr. David Hawkins. I'll put a link below to his information. There's also Dan Winter, who speaks about the science of bliss. So for science-minded people, that's a great resource. I think Nassim Hussain also talks about it. Sorry, I'm not sure if I got his name right. He's quite well known in these circles too. I'll try and pop those links below. So I just want to check my notes to make sure I've covered everything. Yeah, okay, so something else that's really important. If we think of the truth community as the destruction principle, and we think of the starseed community as the creation principle, it's not that black and white. There's heaps of crossover, but just for the moment, bear with me. The way that I interpret it is the truth community are destroying the old world. They're destroying the matrix through information. It's an info war happening on that level. And I mean, they're also creating the new world through practical things as well. But by and large, the focus has been exposing the darkness for what it is, bringing the truth to light. That is destroying the old world, right? So it's the destruction principle. And then we have the starseed community, who are very focused on the utopian creation of the fifth dimensional reality that we're going to step into. The new age, the age of Aquarius, the golden age, the creation of the 5D unity liberation template paradise. That is what we came here to do. So for lots of us, we are enacting the creation principle. And of course, both things are always going on. This is a union too of the masculine and the feminine. The masculine being perhaps, let's say, more of the logic kind of analysing of what's going on that level, the logical reason level, and then the feminine being the intuition principles and the power of creation, right? This is, it might not be completely fair to say, but it does feel as if there's more women in the starseed community and more men in the truth community, and I don't think that's an accident. Spirit has shown me how the women are birthing the new world literally through the consciousness of their wombs, right? So the womb being the metaphor for the creation, for the holding of the creation, for the holding of the dream seed that we all came here to enjoy and to grow. So yeah, take that or leave it. You know, I understand that many of us are doing both jobs, and it's not just a purely masculine or feminine thing. The point is we need each other, I guess, and we need each other to be really balanced, and really strong. I feel as if we are, but I just wanted to remind everybody of the importance of both at this critical juncture. Yeah, so we're also experiencing an info war, which is again that storyline, the truth community, and we're experiencing a spiritual war. Can our hearts prevail under these circumstances? Can people choose from their hearts instead of choose from the place of the brainwashed programming that we've all been subjected to? So, you know, we saw this with the panic, and we saw a lot of people acting from survival mode, choosing survival, selfish primal instincts over heart and compassion. But conversely, we saw a lot of amazing things as well. And we know that everything is in flux right now. We also know, and this is the very important aspect of the starseed community as well as the truther community, basically anyone who understands the power of their consciousness focused intent, use it. Use it more than ever now. You might spend many hours of your day looking at the storylines, looking at the narratives, looking at the truth. It's very compelling. But please, please unplug and vision. Spend some time visioning what you want to create. Don't allow yourself to get sucked into storylines that bring up fear, that encourage you to start imagining the Armageddon or the apocalypse. No, imagine the evolution, the love revolution that is happening. Imagine what this is all going to look like in 6 months' time or however long it takes. Imagine the freedom. Imagine the celebration in the streets. This is our hearts and our power to consciously visualize and create what we want through our thoughts and our feelings. We need to connect both of them to manifest. This is what we came here to do. This is the power of the human being that no dark agenda has power over. So take your power, envision what you want to happen, not what you perceive as going to happen or could happen. Hang on to what you want to happen. Take a break if you need it from the darker stuff. You know, there's plenty. This is the amazing thing about this army. There's plenty of us to kind of pick up the pieces when someone else leaves, or, you know, do as much as you can, but balance it with lots and lots of self-care. That's my best advice for all of us right now. We are the leaders of the new world. We are the leaders of the new earth. We were once the crazy ones. We were once, you know, we're the artists, we're the visionaries, we're the people that have been on the fringe of society. And now is our time to shine. Now is our time to step into our leadership roles and be the best version of what we can be. So that's my message to you all, and I just want to thank you so much for all of your work. I've really seen it in the last couple of weeks. I've really seen, you know, just following on social media and the little support groups that I'm a part of on Facebook, etc., and in my local community, how much work we're all doing, and we're doing amazing. We've got this, guys. Don't lose your focus, don't lose your positivity, stay well, stay focused, and yeah, just sending you all so much love. We're going to get there, we're going to do this, okay? Never forget your I am presence. Come back to 0 point, moment, present time. Let go of all stories and see what it is that you want to create. Call forth that creation into being through your I am presence. And so it is. Namaste.